Welcome to the Yield Tactics Podcast, your go-to source for all topics related to yield and revenue management, pricing strategies, and industry insights. We're diving deep into the dynamic world of revenue management and pricing across various sectors, with a particular focus on travel, leisure, transportation industries, and beyond. From airlines optimizing seat inventory to hotels adjusting room rates based on demand, and even to theme parks maximizing ticket sales, yield management plays a crucial role in ensuring businesses extract the maximum value from their resources. Joining us are Yield Tactics senior consultants and partners, industry experts, thought leaders, and pioneers in the field of revenue management, who will share their expertise, experiences, and innovative strategies to help you stay ahead in this ever-evolving landscape.
This podcast is brought to you by Yield Tactics and Airline Tactics, the foremost consulting firm specializing in revenue management and pricing, serving clients worldwide.
Welcome back to the Yield Tactics Podcast, the podcast where we dive into the art and science of maximizing revenue potential. Today, we're exploring a fascinating topic: how different sectors compare in their pricing and revenue management maturity, and how they can unlock new levels of profitability.
If we plot various industries on a chart, with potential EBITDA growth from increased adoption of revenue management on the y-axis and current maturity in revenue management on the x-axis, distinct categories emerge. Let's start with the aspiring achievers. These are the sectors with the most promise for rapid EBITDA growth within a year. Take cruise lines and media advertising, for example. They're shining examples of industries with high potential. Then we have the high-potential underperformers. These sectors, like national railways and cloud computing, have significant untapped potential, but are held back by lower levels of current maturity, leaving plenty of room for improvement. On the other hand, the efficient executors are industries that have already achieved a high level of maturity in revenue management, but have less immediate potential for EBITDA growth. Legacy and low-cost airlines fall into this group, as they've already fine-tuned many aspects of their operations. Finally, there are the underdeveloped and constrained sectors, such as regional railways and public city transportation. These industries face unique challenges, whether due to regulations or infrastructure, that make it particularly tough to advance their pricing and revenue management practices. Such a mapping provides valuable insights into the key drivers and accessibility of each sector. It highlights the main factors influencing their maturity and potential, such as advancements in technology and distribution, the strength of skills and organizational structures, the quality of data and customer insights, and the impact of regulatory frameworks. Additionally, each sector is assessed for its level of accessibility, ranging from easy to difficult, showing how practical or challenging it would be to unlock their full potential. Even within the same sector, it's fascinating how much variability there can be. Take national railways, for example. In one country, you might find a highly mature system driven by intense competition, where advanced revenue management practices are the norm, high-speed trains in particular. But in another country, the same sector could be stuck due to strict regulations or a lack of competitive pressure, leaving it far behind. Geography, business size, local regulations, all these factors play a massive role in shaping what's possible and what's not. And then there's the question of accessibility. How easy is it for a company in a given sector to unlock its full potential? It really depends. For a car rental company, The answer might involve overhauling their technology or revamping the customer experience to get better at yield management. But for something like regional railways, the barriers are much higher. Regulatory oversight can be so restrictive that it's almost impossible to make meaningful progress, no matter how innovative the ideas might be. This is why setting realistic expectations is so important. Some paths are smoother than others, and knowing what's feasible up front can save a lot of frustration down the line. What really moves the needle, though, are a few key drivers. You've got technology and distribution, which are all about having the right systems and channels to support things like dynamic pricing. Then there's skills and organization, having the right expertise and structure in place to make quick, smart decisions. Data and customer insights play a huge role too. How well does a company really know its customers? Are they using data effectively to predict behaviors and trends? And of course, there's the regulatory environment, which can either be a springboard or a roadblock, depending on how flexible it is. When you think about it, these are the building blocks for any sector trying to push forward. The challenge is figuring out which area needs the most focus. Maybe it's investing in better data systems, hiring the right talent, or even advocating for more flexibility in the regulatory framework. Whatever the case, understanding these drivers isn't just helpful, it's critical. It's what turns potential into progress. The hospitality sector is a fascinating case study because it's so varied. Take properties with over 50 rooms, for instance. These larger hotels often operate with fairly advanced revenue management systems because managing a high volume of rooms requires it. The complexity of their operations naturally pushes them toward more sophisticated tools and techniques. Compare that to smaller properties, though, and you see a very different story. Many of these smaller players just don't have the infrastructure, or sometimes even the resources, to dive deep into yield management. Their potential for growth is often limited not just by tech, but also by a lack of data. Without a critical mass of bookings, it's hard to forecast demand accurately or price rooms in a way that fully captures value. Now, if we look at cruise lines, you see some parallels with hotels, but the range is even broader. On one end, you've got the big operators managing massive ships, complete with private island experiences and onboard revenue streams that are meticulously optimized. These guys know how to squeeze value out of every aspect of the customer journey, from spa bookings to specialty dining. But then there are smaller operators, like those running river cruises, who are often lagging behind. They don't have the same scale or the systems in place to achieve that level of precision, which leaves a lot of potential on the table. Here's what's really interesting, though. Even the cruise lines that seem to be crushing it post-COVID, with load factors over 100% and luxury cruises booked years in advance, might not be reaching their full revenue potential. Sure, it looks like a win. Ships are full, demand is high, but the question is whether they're truly maximizing what customers are willing to pay. Are they capturing every dollar they could through pricing strategies? Are those premium bookings leaving money on the table simply because they aren't pushing hard enough on revenue per customer? Sometimes, exceptional performance on the surface can mask inefficiencies underneath. It's a reminder that success isn't always about what you see. It's also about what could be improved in the background. The airline sector is another fascinating example of variability in revenue management maturity. Among legacy airlines, you can see a clear divide. The ones leveraging advanced origin and distribution network optimization revenue management systems are miles ahead in terms of optimizing their route networks and pricing strategies. These systems allow them to fine-tune every seat on every route, accounting for connections, time of booking, and even competitive pressures. For hub-and-spoke airlines in particular, this kind of optimization is a game changer. It's the difference between just filling planes and filling planes profitably. But here's where things get interesting. When it comes to ancillary sales, many of these legacy carriers are still playing catch-up compared to low-cost airlines. The low-cost model has always been built around maximizing revenue per passenger by unbundling everything: seat selection, baggage, snacks, you name it. Legacy airlines, in contrast, often cling to a more traditional, all-inclusive approach in some markets, and that can hold them back. What's more, the lines between low-cost and legacy models are blurring. You've got low-cost carriers expanding into long-haul routes and legacy airlines experimenting with stripped-down fare classes to compete. It's a shifting landscape, and for legacy airlines, the pressure is on to not just keep up, but to rethink how they're driving incremental revenue. Ancillaries are no longer an afterthought. They're becoming a critical component of overall profitability. The key question for legacy carriers is this: are they doing enough to adapt? The tools for sophisticated route optimization and dynamic pricing might be there, but if they aren't matching that level of maturity in ancillary sales, they're leaving money on the table. And in a market where margins are razor-thin, that's a risk they can't afford to take. The ferry sector is a prime example of how operational diversity can complicate revenue management, but also present significant opportunities for innovation. Unlike airlines or hotels, ferries operate with non-standard configurations. Every fleet, and often every individual vessel, comes with its own set of challenges. You've got passenger-only ferries, mixed-use vessels handling everything from cars to freight, and varying demand profiles from leisure travelers to commuters, and even freight operators. And then there's the onboard experience. Some ferries offer robust hospitality services, duty-free shopping, or even casinos, while others focus purely on functionality. Add in the complexities of multi-leg routes and public service obligations, and you're looking at a landscape where one-size-fits-all revenue management tools just don't cut it. But here's the upside. Other industries with equally unique challenges have found solutions that could be adapted to ferries. For operators willing to innovate, this is a chance to leap ahead of the competition. By focusing on total revenue management, TRM, you're not just optimizing ticket sales, you're addressing customer experience, digital transformation, and overall commercial performance. So, how can ferry operators move the needle on revenue? There are 3 big steps to consider. First, demand forecasting and dynamic pricing. This is the backbone of revenue management in any industry, and ferries are no exception. Implementing a solid demand forecasting model allows you to adjust fares in real time based on demand. Whether it's adjusting for seasonal spikes, last-minute bookings, or varying vehicle types, dynamic pricing ensures you're maximizing revenue for every trip. Second, onboard ancillary revenues. Ferries have untapped potential here, much like the cruise industry did a few decades ago. A total revenue management approach can transform everything from food and beverage sales to duty-free shopping. It's about thinking beyond the ticket price. What can you offer passengers on board that enhances their journey while boosting your bottom line? Pair that with digital tools and smart data reporting, and you've got a recipe for sustained growth. And third, data science for optimization. This is where you address the really tricky stuff: managing multi-stop routes, figuring out how to efficiently pack vehicle types in the cargo bay or optimizing freight flow. With the right data models, these challenges become opportunities to increase efficiency and improve capacity utilization. Ultimately, the ferry sector is ripe for transformation. It's not just about solving today's revenue challenges, it's about rethinking how these operations work altogether, using modern tools to stay competitive and unlock new growth. When you think of cruises, it's easy to still picture them as just another form of transportation, big ships crossing the seas, but that's a thing of the past. Today's cruise business is much closer to the hospitality industry than it is to airlines or railways. Some of these massive ocean liners are more like floating amusement parks, where the stateroom charges aren't just for a place to sleep. They're akin to an entrance fee for an entire experience. What's driving a lot of this shift? Revenue Management Systems, RMS. More and more cruise lines are adopting or upgrading their RMS, but it's not always straightforward. Many cruise companies started with central reservation systems, CRS, that weren't initially designed for the kind of revenue optimization that modern cruise lines need. Plus, linking these systems with onboard property management systems, PMS, to pull in data on things like shore excursions and onboard spending adds a layer of complexity. To truly adopt Total Revenue Management, TRM, cruise lines need to collect this qualitative data and tie it into their pricing and strategy. But it's not just about the big ships. Smaller vessels, like river cruises or luxury yachts, face their own set of challenges. These types of cruises have limited space and are designed around a more curated experience for passengers, which makes using the same strategy as larger ships difficult. Instead, they often rely on alternative pricing tactics. Think all-inclusive packages or premium offerings like exclusive shore excursions and wellness services. These tailored approaches help them maximize revenue while keeping the unique character of their services intact. Whether it's massive cruise liners or smaller, more intimate ships, the cruise sector is embracing a new world of revenue management, leveraging technology and data to stay competitive and relevant. Rail travel is having something of a renaissance, especially in Europe. After being overshadowed for decades, it's now back in the spotlight, with deregulation in the EU opening the doors for new companies to step into what's become a trendier, albeit economically risky, market. There's a growing number of unconventional projects too, like the return of night trains, luxury tourist trains, and the revival of cross-border routes. Governments are also getting behind rail as a more eco-friendly alternative to air travel, providing support and incentives. But with these new opportunities come new challenges, particularly around pricing. How do you price these unconventional projects to ensure they're profitable? How does a legacy rail company compete with the rise of low-cost competitors on lucrative routes? And for new players entering the market, how can they overcome the dominance of established companies while delivering quick returns to shareholders? To truly capitalize on the resurgence of rail and optimize revenue, a solid revenue management strategy is absolutely critical. Here's how you can approach it. First, you need to evaluate how well your organization can handle the increased competition that's coming with this shift. With more players in the market, understanding your position will help you navigate the changes ahead. Next, review your pricing structure. Are you pricing effectively across different passenger segments? Make sure there's no revenue dilution, and if necessary, revisit your origin-destination pricing. This is particularly important for ensuring that displacement costs, those related to stations across different lines, are fully optimized. Third, take a hard look at your current revenue management system. If you don't have one, it's time to implement one. The right system will give you the tools needed to make the most out of the data you have and the opportunities in front of you. Finally, expand the concept of total revenue management across your operations. Focus your commercial efforts on the most profitable customer segments and look for quick wins by activating ancillary revenue levers. Things like additional services, upgrades, and add-ons can make a big difference to your bottom line. By strategically positioning yourself and leveraging the right tools, you can turn the rail sector's comeback into a major success story. In wrapping up, what we've explored today is the incredible variability across industries when it comes to pricing and revenue management. From the rapidly evolving rail sector in Europe to the increasingly sophisticated strategies in the cruise and airline industries, every sector has its own unique set of challenges and opportunities. We've seen that maturity levels vary not just between sectors, but within them, shaped by factors like geography, technology, and regulatory environments. Businesses now have a powerful tool at their disposal, mapping their positioning along the axes of potential EBITDA growth and current maturity in revenue management. This framework can provide valuable insights into where they stand in relation to their peers. Are they trailing behind in adoption, or perhaps leading the charge in maximizing revenue potential? Recognizing this can help tailor strategies, whether that's catching up with the competition or fortifying a stronghold to stay ahead.
Ultimately, what Yield Tactics invites us to do is start the conversation. By engaging with this mapping and benchmarking themselves against best industry practices, businesses can explore practical ways to enhance their pricing and revenue management strategies. With the right strategies in place, they can optimize their performance, stay ahead in an increasingly competitive market, and boost their financial outcomes. The goal isn't just to keep up, but to harness these insights to unlock new opportunities for growth. And whether you're in cruises, rail, airlines, or any other sector, these principles can guide you toward a more profitable future. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to catch every upcoming episode. And if you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out to us.
Stay connected with us on LinkedIn and visit our websites yieldtactics.com and airlinetactics.com for more exclusive content and information about our consulting and training services. From our websites, you can download the Yield Tactics magazine for free, featuring in-depth articles covering topics such as organizational transformation, advanced pricing techniques, marketing, revenue optimization, and distribution. The ideas and opinions expressed by our guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or endorsements of Yield Tactics. Also, when we mention specific companies or products, it's important to note that such references do not constitute an endorsement by Yield Tactics, nor do they imply any business relationship between us.